newspaper with some very unusual, I don't know what you call it, but I suppose if I didn't know the truth, I would believe it. And for this reason, I thought it was quite befitting this morning to, since 3 of us have been mentioned in the paper for a couple of days, that we would get some additional understanding as to why we have been singled out. The thrust of the article seemed to stem around the fact that I and 2 other commissioners have met with Janet Landers to craft some kind of agreement with George Stewart. And I know I haven't done anything like that. And I have not discussed any of this information with any other commissioner. And I thought this morning would have been a good time for us to allow our person, Commissioner Whitehead, if he would like to give us some more information as to how all of this got started, because he's saying, according to the newspaper, that we craft some kind of agreement even before Mr. Stewart had agreed to exit the county, that we were in the knowledge of it, and that he knew a day or 2 before that this had taken place, and that because that there was an outcry from the News Journal and other sources, that we reneged on it and decided to craft another kind of agreement. And I can certainly speak for myself, but I know that I have not crafted anything. In fact, I don't even know how to craft whatever that is. And I just think that maybe this morning that he would like to share with us how he came to that conclusion that 3 of us got together and did this. So if he would like to respond at this time, we would appreciate it.
Young, I'll be happy to respond. It's readily apparent to me that over the course of the discussion regarding Mr. Stewart, that this board had 2 directions they could have gone. If the majority of this board wanted to see Mr. Stewart gone, and I stated publicly it was probably time, he lost the faith of this board, and it's at that point where you need to move on, then there's a process under state law for removing a county administrator. It has been followed in this county before. It's tried and it's true, and it works. It's a public process. I approached Ms. Lander on either Tuesday or Wednesday before the meeting that George submitted his retirement and asked her specifically if there was an agreement being produced, and she said yes. I actually was a little heated in my comment. I said, is there a reason why I haven't seen it? And she said it's still a work in process. She informed me that she had the support of the majority of the board for this agreement. So somebody is not telling the truth here, and it's not me, because I saw the document. The document existed. I don't think there's any question whatsoever that that document exists.
Look, could I?
But no, let me finish if you don't mind. Now, what we're down to is a question of either she is correct and 3 commissioners directed her to come up with an agreement for getting rid of George, which by her own admission she said she hoped that we treat her as well as this proposal was treating him. I do believe that's an accurate assessment of that. Or she, of her own volition, decided it was time for George to leave, and she drafted an agreement on her own. I personally cannot picture a scenario where a county attorney would do that. I personally don't believe it. George told me after the meeting that he had been approached by Janet, who indicated to him that there was a majority of the board ready for him to leave, and that was the inducement for the document, and that was the reason that he submitted the resignation or the retirement notice in the fashion that he did, and that had he not been informed that it was there, he would not have done it. So you can do what you want with it. It doesn't matter to me. I haven't been a party to this process. When we say 3 commissioners, Commissioner Robinson was out of town, and I wasn't involved. I mean, it's not upper math to figure this one out. I'm sorry. But, any way you cut it, this board did not follow the appropriate process for terminating a county administrator. If that was what your plan was, should have just done it. And I can live with it. It doesn't matter to me. This is not sour grapes. This is not me angered because of one thing or another. I agree. It was time for Mr. Stewart to leave. He had lost the faith of this board, the majority of the board, and he had lost the faith of a lot of people in the public. It's at that time when a county administrator should move. But again, there's a tried and true process for doing it, and this board to date has not embarked on that path. So,
okay, but
Marie, let me say, there's a problem with your timeline because you talked to her 2 days before, you said?
That's correct.
Janet, what day did I come talk to you? The day before he resigned, correct?
I said either Monday or either Tuesday or Wednesday.
And when I came to you, what did I ask you to do?
That George to resign.
That's all I asked her to do. I didn't ask her to craft a document or anything. And actually, I called Janet that Friday when I found out she had leaked a copy, or not leaked, but gave a copy of a draft agreement to the press that I had never even seen. Did I not call you and ask you what was going on with that, Janet?
I never said you saw that document. All I said was that it appears that there was a majority. I can base it only on what Janet said. Janet told me, did you not, that there was a majority of the board that wanted to see George leave?
Yes.
Okay. She said that. So were you just reading their minds, or was this based on discussion that you had with them?
Individually.
I'm not suggesting that anyone got together in violation of the Sunshine Law, but individually, you ascertained that 3 commissioners wanted him gone.
Correct.
Thank you.
okay,
But you also accused us of drafting an agreement.
I haven't accused anyone of anything.
the
based on what your email report said.
based on
It appears.
based on the information of the email and the article in the paper this morning, it says 3 commissioners, and of course the 3 commissioners were somewhat named that we draft or craft this document before, and that's the thing that I'm concerned about, because I never knew anything about anything. Mr. Stewart made his statement on a Thursday evening. I was not aware of any kind of document being crafted or was crafted.
Had you indicated to Ms. Lander that you wanted George to retire?
No, I had not.
Apparently Janet can't count.
Wait a minute, let me finish. When Mr. Stewart read his statement, that was it as far as I knew. Then somewhere around Friday, when I was on my way home, I was handed some kind of copy and I put it in my briefcase. I didn't even realize what it was till I got to Sandusky in a meeting. And I had a call from Mike Stewart asking me about this document. And I told him that I was not aware of what he was talking about. But when I got back to the office, which would have been on Tuesday, I would call him. When I did return to the office on Tuesday afternoon, I went directly to Janet Lander's office and asked her about this document. And she told me that that's no good because we are working on something else.